I know what you're thinking. This is normally Pastor Jenna doing this part. Pastor Jenna isn't here, so I'm doing this on my own. What does she normally start with? Warm-up. Okay, we're gonna do a warm-up before we get into worship. What should we warm up? Let's warm up our fingers. That's a good idea, right? Okay, let's warm up that finger. Let's warm up the pinky finger. Let's warm up the thumb. Oh, our ears. We gotta warm up our ears. Okay, you need to pull on this ear. Make sure it's nice and loose. Pull on the other ear. Make sure that's nice and loose. Oh, I didn't even ask you to stand up. Oh my goodness. Okay, stand up, stand on your feet, stand on your feet. Now we're gonna warm up our noses. You wanna grab your nose like this. You wanna turn it to the left. Make sure that it's really nice and fluid. Turn it to the right now. Make sure that that side's nice and fluid. That's probably good, right? Okay, let's jump right into worship.
Whenever I need some answers, God, I turn to you. You are my help when I need wisdom. You always see me through. To know that you're chasing after me, it makes me wanna run to where you are. God, you make this journey worth it. I give you all my heart. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. Wherever there is freedom, I know that's where you'll be. You make me wanna do what's right and be the best version of me. To know that you're chasing after me, it makes me wanna run to where you are. God, you make this journey worth it. I give you all my heart. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I 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 don't wanna stop, I don't wanna stop living for you, for you. I don't wanna stop, I don't wanna stop running to you, God. I don't wanna stop, I don't wanna stop living for you, for you. I don't wanna stop, I don't wanna stop running to you, God. You're all I need, my source for everything. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. When I don't know what to do, you help me figure it out. God, I run to you. When I need a solution, I have no doubt that I will run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you. I run to you.
Whew, okay, it is time to play a game! Say it with me. Matthew, 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 Matthew. We got it ready. Thank you, yes, good, thank you, buddy. You can stop, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Will It Float, the game where you are going to look at common household items and try and figure out if or if not they will sink to the bottom of this bowl. We've got this beautiful glass bowl. I have a whole bunch of objects. Let's get started. Round one, nice and easy, a beach ball. Do you think this is going to sink or do you think it's going to float? Let's find out. It floated! Round two. One of Pastor Jenna's hair clips. You think it's gonna float or you think it's gonna sink? Let's find out. It sank! Did you see that coming? Round three. A can of Coke Zero. There's pop on the inside, aluminum on the outside. What do you think is gonna happen? Let's find out. Floating! Very interesting. Round four. A Kraft single. It's a piece of cheese, something like cheese, in plastic. You think it's gonna float or you think it's gonna sink? Let's find out. It sank. Nothing there. Next up, we've got a yellow pencil crayon. You think it's gonna float or you think it's gonna sink? Let's find out. Floating pretty confidently. Next up, blueberries. Do you think blueberries will float or sink? Let's find out. They float! Wow, I learned something. Next we have chocolate chips. Just the chips, not the bowl. I'm gonna put the chocolate chips in. Do you think they're gonna float or sink? Let's find out. They sank. Oh, nothing for them. Now we have a Freezy. Ooh, beautiful for summer days. It's watermelon flavored. I'm not sure if that's going to matter or not. Think it's going to float? Let's find out. Okay, alright. I'll actually try and put it in. Maybe we should cut the Freezy in half. Okay. Half of Freezy. Let's see what happens. It's floating! That took a lot of work. You're doing great. Let's see what's next. A baby toy. It's got bees on it. It's got a little monkey. Think this is gonna float or do you think it's gonna sink? Here we go. It floated! And last but not least, a thing of table syrup. Think this is gonna float or sink? I don't know what you're thinking. It's bigger than the bowl. I'm gonna put it straight in so that we'll know immediately. Here we go. It sank. That's it. Well, guys, thank you for playing another exciting round of Will It Float. Don't go anywhere because we got a whole bunch more fun in store for you.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 3.
When Solomon became king as a young man, he asked God for one thing: wisdom. And God made him one of the wisest men in the world. Years later, many of Solomon's wise sayings were collected and written down in the book of Proverbs. Check out these wise words in Proverbs 22:3.
Wise people see danger and go to a safe place, but childish people keep going and suffer for it.
There's a lot to discover in these few short lines. First of all, it's important to remember to take time in your day to stop. Oops! It's easy to get so distracted that you don't stop to take a breath and pay attention to what's going on around you. Second step, think. Look around you, look ahead. Do you see danger? Ask yourself, if I keep doing what I'm doing, what's going to happen? If I say the first thing that pops into my head and talk back to my mom, well, that might just lead to a week of no screen time. If I keep playing this video game and playing playing instead of studying, I might bomb the test. If I ignore the sign that says, playground closed for repairs, that could mean a trip to urgent care. God doesn't tell us the future, but He has given us the common sense to think through what is most likely to happen right now based on what's going on around us. Oh, which brings us to our third step. Act. Once you've taken time to stop and think it through, it's time to make your move. Maybe you realize the safe place in this case is to hold your tongue and say, yes, ma'am. Maybe your safe place is setting a timer for only 5 more minutes of game time before you study. Maybe your safe place is to walk right past that closed down playground, no matter how cool it looks. Foolish people barrel ahead without pausing to think. Wisdom stops, thinks, then acts. From the very beginning, God designed people with the ability to think and act according to His wisdom. And that's still true for each one of us today. So don't forget to stop, think, and then act. And as Solomon reminds us, wise people see danger and go to their safe place. But childish people, they keep going and suffer for it.
Okay, I'm in my chair. I've got a suitcase. Okay, that's good. Inside the suitcase is something that's going to help us remember the bottom line for today. Today's bottom line is that we need to think before we act. What do you think would be something that could help us remember to think before we act? Well, let's see. Oh, it's a couple things. It's a piece of paper and it's a pair of scissors. You know, this actually does make me think of thinking before acting because I love cutting with scissors. I think it's so much fun. I love that sound. And then you can take the piece of paper and you can cut anything you want out of it. I could cut a circle, I could cut a square. Let's see what happens when I cut a square here. I didn't do too badly. But if you notice, I didn't do a very straight line on this side. It's a little bit curved. And you know why? It's because I didn't think before I acted. I was kind of just going off of what I wanted to do, and I thought, I'm just gonna make a square and make it happen. If I had measured some lines out with a ruler, or if I had used the paper to make some folds, then I could have cut along those folds and I would have made a perfect square the first time. So whenever we're cutting with paper and scissors, it's very important to think before you act so that you cut the thing out the way that you want it to. Otherwise, you're left with kind of a shape that you weren't super happy with. So I think that's actually a good way to remember that God wants us to think before we act. I'll see you guys again real soon to see what else is inside the suitcase. Okay. Now it's time for...
Reveal the question.
Let's take a look inside our question box and see what question got sent in today. Can I think and act at the same time? Well, that is a really good question. And it's kind of easy to answer at first. Yes, of course we can think and act at the same time. I think and act at the same time all the time. You think about how many things that you do without actually thinking about it. Like when you eat a bowl of cereal in the morning, you don't have to think very hard about that. Or if you're getting on the bus to go to school, again, you kind of do it without thinking. But if you go into something that you really want to do well, for example, a sports game, maybe you're gonna go play a game of soccer and you want to win the game. Usually, you don't just hear your coach say, all right guys, just get in there and win. Usually, your coach will say, okay guys, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go over there, you're gonna go over here, and you need to watch out for that player because they're very good. You go in with a plan. And anything that's really worth doing, anything that we have to really work at, you need to think before you go into it. Practice, when you think about it first, you're able to predict what's gonna happen and you can make sure you do it to the best of your ability. So to sum up, yes, you can think and act at the same time, but it's so important to think before you act, especially when the thing you're doing is really, really important. Okay. Well, kids, that's all the time we have for today. That really took it out of me. I miss Pastor Jen. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye, guys.